Hi, it's Dr. Lynn Kenny. We're getting great questions in Weekend Wisdom at understood.org this weekend, and I wanted to answer one of the questions in an audio. So, one of our community members said, how do I help my child when he's blurting out or being silly in class? And I had answered it in two parts. The first part was if the behavior is within the child's control. That is, if the child's looking for attention or they're bored or they're seeking stimulation, then the intervention that we usually use is to help him become like a captain of a role in the classroom, such as the captain of noticing all the good that goes on in the classroom. And we have this whole procedure that we use called building a pond of positive behavior because when kids are acting up or blurting out or getting silly, we really don't want to send them to time out or to the principal or provide them with consequences. What we want to do is identify what is the child gaining from the behavior, and then we want to help the child get his needs met by teaching him new thoughts, new words, and new feelings. And so in the community, I posted a link to our blog post on building a pond of pro social behavior. But as the second part, I want to talk with you about helping children experience the felt sense of slowing down. This is actually a conversation I have a lot with families in my own practice because the majority of the children with whom I work have ADHD and or learning challenges, and therefore they tend to be disinhibited, they tend to be impulsive, and they tend to do things without thinking. So, again, we don't want to come from a position of providing consequences or punishment. What we want to do is build the children's skill sets. So, we partner with the children by telling them that we're going to be cognitive scientists together. And we're going to learn a little bit of neuroscience in order for the child to become his brain's best coach. Now, we do this because many of the children with whom we work are used to getting in trouble, they're used to being told what to do, and we don't want to raise what we call the caveman in their brain. We don't want to raise their defensive brain. We want to move around the caveman and talk to the thinker and engage the child in teaching him strategies that he can use in order to coach or help his own brain. So, I want to talk with you about the felt sense of slowing down. Many of these children are told, walk slowly into the classroom, walk slowly into the restaurant, slow down, you're in a hurry, which to me is kind of parenting from the outside in. What we want to do is we want to parent from and teach from the inside up. We want to engage the child in developing strategies that will be helpful to him so that he doesn't feel bossed around. Instead, he feels empowered to coach his own brain. So, the thing about slowing down is that when you have impulse control challenges, when your body reacts before your brain thinks, or you don't plan things through, you don't think about what the consequences of your actions will be, then that impulsivity and that kind of speed or tempo of movement or speaking tends to get you in trouble. So we have a little activity. We use the love notes, but you can do this in any way you desire. We have these four love notes in musical thinking and in 70 play activities where we assign tempo in quarter notes, half notes, whole notes, and this pretend rest note named best rest. And essentially, what we show the children is that you can move and talk and interact at different tempos in your life. You could move or interact like Quick Rick, which is quarter notes. So there would be four beats in a four form measure. So if I were moving in Quick Rick, it would kind of be like walking. I'd be going one, two, like taking steps, right? Or I could move more like slow mo, where I'd be taking two beats at a time. So I'd be slowing down my thinking and slowing down my movement by going one, two, three, four. So if I'm a child in class and I tend to blurt out, or I tend to raise my hand and then really wave it wildly like Mary and 70 play activities, what I'd want to do with the child is help him experience the difference between moving like Quick Rick or moving like slow mo. And I would want to model for him. I would even do probably movement activities where I would march probably in quarter notes, and then I would say, let's that's moving like Quick Rick, and now let's move like slow mo, and I would help him feel the difference in slowing down. I could even have him move in Thinkerbell, which is only one beat per measure. And Thinkerbell's great if you really need to think things out. So, as an example, if the teacher asks a question and the child tends to be impulsive, as the child's coach, I want to say, listen, we've got to think about this. Are we going to answer her in Quick Rick and overwhelm her? Or are we going to be more like Thinkerbell and raise our hands slowly? One, two, three, four. Wait to be called on. Two, two, three, four. When the teacher calls on us, we put our hands quietly at rest in our laps, and then we slowly provide the answer. So, I think the important concept to understand is that most of these children who are told slow down don't know what it feels like to slow down. So, if you do it like we do it using musical notes in order to help them experience what's it like to move quickly, what's it like to move or speak slowly, what's it like to even move even slower, like Tinkerbell, one beat in a whole measure. Um, I just find it's really helpful to teach the children the felt sense of slowing down. Now, if you're not going to use music, that's perfectly fine as well. The other strategy we use is animals, because kids can relate to animals. So when you think about it, a cheetah moves really quickly, right? Faster than Quick Rick. And a turtle moves really slowly, probably slower than slow mo. So instead of telling a child, we're going to slow down as we walk into this restaurant, what I might say is, let's think about what it would be like for a turtle to walk into this restaurant. Let's imagine, what does it look like when the turtle walks in the restaurant? Now let's practice being the turtle. Let's be turtles walking into the restaurant. And then, so you can use animals: cheetahs, tigers, lions, turtles, slugs. I've got one activity, I call it Starfish and Tornadoes, where I say, we're going to be a starfish. What does a starfish look like? Oh, it's just sitting there at rest and the water is flowing over it. It's such a peaceful little starfish. And then now let's think about, what does the tornado feel like? Total chaos. So you can use whatever imagery you want, but the important thing in this lesson to teach the child is that we want to have him coach his brain and internalize these skills. And some of the tools that you can use, of course, are the storytelling about the animals, or you can actually use musical notes, quarter notes, half notes, and whole notes, in order to help the child feel what it's like to move quickly and move slowly. All right, so that would have been a long thing to write for you, but hopefully this is going to be helpful. All right, have a beautiful day.